Hannah Rooney has perfected the art of being invisible. At 20, she moves through Rockaway Watch like a ghost, plain clothes, minimal makeup, hair pulled back, voice low. Invisible isn't merely a style for Hannah, it is survival. Her upbringing in the Rooney family, a small coastal clan that runs profitable, dangerous enterprises, taught her that any display of need or weakness becomes fuel for predators. So she learned to read the room, keep her head down, and hide the parts of herself that might be exploited. This strategy has allowed her to escape enough of the family's reach to build a life of her own: nursing school, a tiny apartment crammed with books, and a plan to get her younger sister Kaylee away from the Rooneys for good. Kaylee is Hannah's opposite, incandescent, reckless, and magnetic. She dances on pool tables, steals wallets for fun, and courts trouble the way others collect souvenirs. Where Hannah's survival strategy is invisibility, Kaylee's is spectacle. She draws attention like a lighthouse draws ships. Their difference is a fault line. Kaylee's light makes Hannah visible in ways she cannot afford, and Hannah's invisibility fails the moment she is near her sister because the Rooney family watches through Kaylee's glow. Their mother, Eden Rooney, is the family's fixed point of control, ruthless, coercive, and unblinking. Eden let Hannah leave the house years ago when it suited the family's purposes, but that freedom was conditional. She remains fundamentally Rooney property. Eden's power is both practical and symbolic. She runs the local networks that tie the town together: the cops, the trade, the violence potential that keeps both enemies and allies in line. Her casual cruelty and capacity for control hang over Hannah like an ultimatum: obey or be brought back into the fold on Eden's terms. The story opens in a coastal bar where Hannah and Kaylee's different modes of existence are on display. Kaylee is performing, dancing, flirting, stealing a wallet, while Hannah in scrubs watches for threats and keeps them at arm's length. Their night is punctured when a group of outsiders shows up, 3 prep school boys with an air of entitlement. One of them, dark, languid, with green eyes that rove, notices Hannah and taunts her with a flippant familiarity, calling her palindrome girl, and teasing that they might set the world on fire. It's the kind of line that sounds like nothing in a crowded bar, and everything when said against the Rooneys. Kaylee predictably steals one of their wallets on the way out. Hannah is furious at the risk Kaylee took, because every scrape and arrest becomes leverage for the family, leverage Eden can exploit. That scrape becomes the hinge for the novel's central catastrophe. A short while later, Hannah is pulled back into the family's orbit not by Eden directly but by a test she cannot refuse. She returns home one night to find Rory, her cousin, bleeding and ordered to be fixed by Eden. Eden drops a basic surgical kit on Hannah's bed and orders her to stitch Rory's cheek without anesthetic, not out of medical necessity, but as demonstration and punishment. The procedure is quiet, clinical, and another reminder: her hands are useful enough to be commanded. As Hannah tends Rory, Eden threatens the boys who were involved in the bar fight. Hannah connects the dots. One of the boys is Tobias Hawthorne, II, Toby, scion of a wealthy family with a private island off the coast. Eden names names and hints at consequences, and Hannah answers because she must. The boys were heading to Hawthorne Island. Hannah's world begins to fracture the night the Hawthorne mansion explodes. While at the hospital on her day off, the one place where anonymity is easiest, Hannah watches lightning tear the sky and sees an inferno out at sea. She drives toward the shore and realizes with a lurch that the flames are on Hawthorne Island. The sequence that follows accelerates the stakes and the moral compromises. Jackson Curry, a gruff, solitary fisherman Hannah knows, brings her word and then a living body. He has pulled an injured boy from the water. Jackson is shaken and insistent. There were more than 3 people on the Hawthorne boat that day. He had seen 4, and by his account 3 are dead and 1 is alive, badly burned and thrashing. Most of all, Jackson blurts one terrifying possibility: Kaylee. At the lighthouse, Hannah learns that the lone survivor is half dead and calling for kerosene in his delirium, language that echoes the outsider who'd spoken to her in the bar about setting the world on fire. Jackson insists the survivor is dying and must not be taken to the hospital. He's convinced the explosion and the circumstances are anything but natural. He also fears the consequences of involving authorities. The Rooneys' local control means a proper hospital, and the police won't be neutral arbiters. An outsider tied to a billionaire family will bring a dangerous spotlight. Eden's code, however, is simpler and more brutal: blood for blood. If a Rooney is dead, the family will answer in kind. If the survivor from Hawthorne Island is connected to Kaylee's disappearance, especially if Kaylee herself died in the blast, Hannah's world will tilt into a place where she can no longer be invisible. Hannah's immediate dilemma is both moral and strategic. If she takes the survivor to the hospital, she risks exposing herself and the family to outside law enforcement and the Hawthorne's wrath. If she helps hide or tend him, she becomes complicit in her family's underground economy. Worse, Eden's use of Hannah's nursing skills is both a weapon and a leash. Eden wants Hannah to use her hands for dirty work that shields the family while keeping Hannah beholden. Her prior quiet acquiescence, doing what she must in order to protect Kaylee and finish school, is about to be tested beyond anything she has faced. Thematically, the story explores the paradox of survival, invisibility as armor that can also be confinement. Hannah's discipline, to be no one, to be steady and unemotional, is the strategy that bought her a chance at a different life. But when the needs of blood, Kaylee, and the demands of family collide, her invisibility becomes insufficient. The lighthouse motif, a place Hannah loves precisely because it marks liminal space, underscores this: light that warns, guiding ships away, and people who are drawn to brightness no matter the danger. Kaylee is that light. Hannah is the interstitial space between shore and sea, between belonging and escape. Characters are sketched sharply. Eden is a threat in domestic form, a mother with a poker face who orchestrates violence by making it bureaucratic and inevitable. Kaylee is vitality and risk. Hannah's deep love for her is real and the primary engine of her choices. Jackson Curry is an unlikely ally and a reminder of the town's deeper truths, people who have seen too much and learned to keep part of themselves to themselves. Rory is a symbol of the family's brute force and the way Eden weaponizes kinship. Tobias Hawthorne II, the boy with the green eyes and the ridiculous tone, embodies outside privilege and careless danger. The Hawthorne explosion is a narrative device that brings worlds together. Wealthy recklessness crashes into working-class consequences, and local criminal networks react with the unerring logic of their own governance. The novel pivots on the question of what Hannah will sacrifice to protect Kaylee and finish nursing school. Will she be drawn entirely back in, sewing wounds and facilitating cover-ups for the family she tried to escape? Or will the horror of Hawthorne Island push her to do something unpredictable? Reveal the family's hand, risk the Hawthorns and the law, or finally get Kaylee out at all costs? Eden's line that Hannah has a steady hand feels less like praise and more like a threat. Hannah's competence ensures her value to the family but also guarantees her captivity. The opening chapters build tension through contrasts. The intimacy of sisterhood versus the cold mechanics of family power. Hannah's interior voice and invisibility versus the loud, incandescent life Kaylee leads. The ordinary rhythms of nursing school and grocery runs against the extraordinary violence of a mansion exploding in a storm. The setting, a battered coastal New England-style town with its ruined lighthouse, further frames the narrative in atmospheric terms: winds, waves, and the ever-present possibility of being swallowed by something larger than oneself. By the end of this section, the stakes are unambiguously high. A wealthy family has been nearly annihilated in an explosion. A lone survivor has been dragged from the water. Kaylee, Hannah's only tether to soft light, is possibly dead or missing, and Eden has noticed Hannah's utility once again. The story promises a collision: private codes of vengeance, blood for blood, the legal apparatus of power, the Hawthorns and their money, and an individual struggle for escape and moral autonomy. Hannah's choice will not only decide the fate of the survivor and of Kaylee, it will determine whether her invisibility can be reclaimed or whether it will be burned away in the same blaze that consumed Hawthorne Island.